What is going on, everyone? How are you doing? I hope you're doing good, because it is good to feel good. And this weekend, I was about to say this Sunday, but it's not anymore. This weekend is WrestleMania 36, and bloody hell, it's come round just all so sudden. Obviously, given everything that's going on that's affected the event in the last few weeks, it's just a bit mad, because like a month ago, it was been a case that, oh yeah, it's taking place this Sunday at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida. Of course, given the current circumstances, that can't happen anymore. So to kind of compromise, WWE are now doing it in front of an empty audience at their performance center, their training facility basically, in Orlando. So, and I should mention as well, it has been pre-taped, so it's going to be a bit strange watching it and being like, oh yeah, this isn't live. It will be strange, but of course, given the circumstances as well, what can you really do? I'm just suddenly thinking about it now, how it was this time last year that I was heading to New York for WrestleMania 35, and obviously there were all people from all over the world right now who were going to head over to Tampa for this weekend for WrestleMania, and of course that's not happening anymore. I do feel quite sorry for everyone who was planning on going, and obviously, again, given the circumstances, can't go. So yeah, that's really sad. So anyway, what I am going to do with this video is I am going to lay down my WrestleMania 36 predictions. So I guess, without further ado, let's lay those predictions. I should quickly mention, this is going out before SmackDown has aired this Friday, so literally the day after is the first day of WrestleMania, and then of course Sunday is the second day of WrestleMania, etc. But anyway, without further ado, let's lay down the predictions. And I should start that every year I usually start by predicting the Battle Royals. Now of course, again, given the circumstances, they can't do the Battle Royals this year, so we'll dive into the predictions anyway. So the first match I'm going to predict is Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins. And this has been a weird old feud. Like, this has been going since about December or something like that, so I don't know how this has all come about. So it's like Seth Rollins has of course become this like Jesus type figure. He's brought on his disciples, you know, he brought in the AOP, he brought in Murphy, they became tag team champions, and then a little down the line, Kevin Owens and his buddies cost Seth Rollins and Murphy, I've forgotten his name, it's because he used to be called Bloody Buddy Murphy, but he's now just Murphy and it's weird. Anyway, they cost him the tag titles to the Street Profits, and of course that feud between Rollins and Owens has continued, and Rollins has been touting on about how Kevin Owens has never had a WrestleMania moment, and it's a very, very peculiar thing, I guess. Kevin Owens has taken part in many WrestleManias, you know, WrestleMania 32 took part in that great ladder match. WrestleMania 33 won the United States Championship from Chris Jericho, although Vince McMahon didn't like the match, which is a shame. Then at WrestleMania 34 he took part in a tag team match with Sami Zayn against Shane McMahon and the returning Daniel Bryan. He wasn't on the card last year, but of course this year he is on the card, so you know what, I think he is going to get his WrestleMania moment, so I'm going to go for Kevin Owens in this match. Next up, we have Otis versus Dolph Ziggler, and this has been a funny old kind of feud as well. So this has been going for a good few months as well. Obviously, just before Valentine's Day, Otis asked Mandy Rose out on a date, and of course, they said that she could do one on Valentine's Day, and then of course Dolph Ziggler inserts himself, and this evolves into some kind of love triangle. And I know Dolph Ziggler's got a habit of being in love triangles over the years, so yeah, you had Vicky Guerrero and AJ Lee, then you had Summer Rae and Lana, and now it's between him and Otis for the affections of Mandy Rose. It's very strange. This is WWE in a nutshell, but do you know what? I think he's had to put up with a lot just to get Mandy Rose to like him, so I'm gonna go for Otis in this match, because I don't know what, I really enjoyed this. Just seeing Otis, like, and you know, Ziggler getting his comeuppance for all this. This would be very nice. And then if Otis and Mandy Rose share a kiss, I think this will all be worth it. And also, that one thing I didn't mention was back at the Royal Rumble when Otis stopped Mandy Rose from being eliminated. Like you see it live when it looks like she's been eliminated, but then Otis is there. She's like holding her up, and it's actually really funny. But yeah, Otis is my prediction for this. Next up, we have Elias versus King Baron Corbin. Obviously, just King Corbin. I don't know what to call him. King Corbin is his name, and I don't know what to think about this. Like on SmackDown last week, Elias got Mufasa courtesy of King Corbin. You know, long live the king and all that malarkey. But I don't know about this, so I'm going to take a risk with this one, and much like I did with Baron Corbin last year at WrestleMania when he shockingly beat Kurt Angle. I correctly predicted it. No one said it was going to happen, but I somehow predicted it, and I felt quite bad being there watching it live and thinking, oh bloody hell, he's won it, hasn't he? And I got it right. Anyway, I'm going to go for King Corbin in this match, and as much as I love Elias, and as much as I like his tunes, and especially last year as well when Elias did his music act, and then bloody John Cena pops up as a Dr. Thugonomics, you can't see me, and all that malarkey. I have King Corbin for this. For this. I can't get my words out. Next up, we have Aleister Black versus Bobby Lashley, and I don't think there's been any build to this match, so I'm just going to go with Aleister Black, because Aleister Black is all cool and methodic and gothic and all that, and you know, he does the black mass. I want him to deliver a black mass to me right now. Although one thing I will say about Aleister Black is, considering both him and Ricochet are both back on the same brand now on Raw, this time last year they were tearing up the scene on WrestleMania weekend, or in fact WrestleMania week as a whole, because Raw that week, the go home Raw for WrestleMania, they took part in a match for the Raw Tag Team Championships. They didn't win it. On NXT TakeOver New York, they were in a match of the NXT Tag Team Championships. They didn't win it. And then at WrestleMania, they took part in that Fatal 4-Way for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, and again, didn't win it. I don't know, I really want to see that team back again. I know they were thrown together, ironically, but you know what, they actually really gelled well, and I wish they would bring them back as a team, because Ricochet at the moment isn't going anywhere. In fact, he's not even on the card, which is a shame. And you know what, I want to see them back together and, you know, maybe challenging for the Tag Team Championships down the line. That would be nice. Next up, we're going to go for the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane versus Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. And really, what has happened to the Women's Tag Team Championships as of recently? I don't know. Answers on a postcard, please, because they like last year, around this time last year at in the lead up to WrestleMania, they were big deal. They've been defended a few times, and then obviously Bayley and Sasha Banks lost to the Iconics at WrestleMania last year, and then nothing really happened with them as champions. And then I don't know, it's just they feel like they're just there for the sake of them being there, and it's a real shame. But and I thought, you know what, the Kabuki Warriors were going to have some good matches as champions. I know they appeared on NXT that one time against Tegan Nox and Dakota Kai, but there's just been nothing really of it. And there was that TLC match at TLC against Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch, and yeah, less than that match is better. Anyway, but yeah, it's just not much that's been happening with these titles, and so just to quickly say it, I'm gonna go and predict the Kabuki Warriors. I do feel sorry for them, and you know, like, considering you've got many women as part of the roster, why don't you put them into teams and actually use them? That would be very helpful. And you know what? I just don't know. It does feel strange, but yeah, so I'm gonna go for the Kabuki Warriors on that. I'm gonna go for the Street Profits versus Angel Garza and Austin Theory. This was originally meant to be Angel Garza and Andrade, although unfortunately Andrade is injured, so yeah. But yeah, no, I really liked the Street Profits, especially when they're in NXT. They've been quite hit and miss, I would say, since they've come up to Raw. Although they, you know what, it's a good thing they're tag team champions, because I feel like, you know what, they really bring the smoke with all that. I don't get that. I really don't get. So can someone please reply, what did they mean by bring the smoke? Is it a weed reference? Because I feel like it isn't. On that note, smoke weed every day. I just don't. I think for this match, I guess because, you know, Angel Garza's like been thrown in there with Austin Theory, and I know this is technically Austin Theory's WrestleMania debut. I just like, and also considering the Street Profits have only been champions for less than a month, so I can't see them losing, so I'm going to go with the Street Profits to retain on this match. And you know what? Hopefully down the line when a few more tag teams pop up, you know what, we can have all sorts of fun with this, I guess. Okay, and then next up on the SmackDown side of things, we have a triple threat ladder match for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, as they are being defended by The Miz and John Morrison against The New Day, Big E and Kofi Kingston, and then the Usos. So I really I do like the sounds of this match. So of course, John Morrison is back in the WWE now. Obviously he's been away for some time, and I just think it's really nice to see him after so long, and you know, him back with The Miz, because they were a pretty solid team back in the day, so it's good to see them back. In fact, now that I think about it, before this, because they split up around, I think it was around 2009 they split up. Bloody hell, that's been a long time. But yeah, it's good to see them back as a tag team, and you know, them as champions going into WrestleMania. I think this could be a very good match. You know what, I feel like all three teams could really gel well in this match, and there could be a lot of good, unique spots, and especially, I know again, it's gonna feel really weird with it being in front of an empty crowd, but you know what, they'll bring the smoke, just like the Street Profits. And for a prediction on this match, I think I'm gonna go for the Usos on this. Obviously it's been a year since the Usos were last tag team champions as a whole, and I really like to see them have a little reign, I guess. You know what, I know it'll be very strange for the New Day to just suddenly go back and win it, but I like, between these three teams we could have some pretty cool stuff happening on the SmackDown tag team scene. So yeah, I'm going to go for the Usos on this one. Next up we have Sami Zayn versus Daniel Bryan for the Intercontinental Championship. And to tell you something that's a bit mad, is that it was around this time 4 years ago at WrestleMania 32 when Sami Zayn took part in that brilliant Intercontinental Championship ladder match that's kicked off WrestleMania 32. And I had him predicted to win that match, and obviously he didn't, which is a shame. It's a crime. I mean, I'm happy that Zack Ryder won, but it just literally was just a one-night thing, and then The Miz became champion. But yeah, no, it's mad to believe that it's been 4 years since that, and now he's finally become Intercontinental Champion. Although I will mention it did just happen really, really sudden, because it was like in that handicap match that against Braun Strowman that featured him, Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro, whoever pinned Braun Strowman would become Intercontinental Champion, and of course Sami Zayn did. Good on him. I reckon, you know what, they can have a really good match in this. And then, you know, also one thing I didn't mention was I really like the whole dynamic between Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak, and I think that's going to go somewhere. So I think for this match, I would really like to see Daniel Bryan become Intercontinental Champion again, because if you cast your minds back to WrestleMania 31, again in a ladder match, Daniel Bryan won that match, and of course he didn't have the lengthiest of reigns because it got cut short due to injury, and that ultimately led to him retiring for the first time. And then it's a bit mad as well that 2 years ago was when he had his comeback match, and of course since then he's been WWE Champion in a reign that ultimately led to one of the best matches from WrestleMania in recent time, I'd say, against Kofi Kingston. I love that match. And then you have him as a SmackDown Tag Team Champion with Rowan, although that didn't really go anywhere, to be honest. But yeah, I would really like to see him back as Intercontinental Champion, you know, him having a few good matches out there. So yeah, my official prediction for that is Daniel Bryan. Yes, 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 and all that malarkey. Next up, now quickly before I get into this match, I don't know what a Boneyard match is. Is it a Buried Alive match? I don't know. But anyway, this match is AJ Styles versus The Undertaker, and yeah, this is a very strange build to this match, because if you cast your minds back to Super Showdown in Saudi Arabia. Of course, AJ Styles took part in that tournament for the two-way. No, it wasn't a tournament. It was a gauntlet match. It's different things. He took part in that gauntlet match for the prestigious two-way trophy, and I love how they on commentary they were just touting it as like this prestigious trophy, and then Undertaker shows up and he wins it, and he doesn't even take the trophy with him. Like, that just shows how prestigious it was, which is very silly. But anyway, this has been a very weird feud as well, because of course it's just the blend of real life, because like Undertaker of course is married to Michelle McCool, and then that's somehow been implemented into the story, and like even on Raw this week it was like this weird blend of Undertaker as the dead man and then Undertaker as the American badass, and you know, he was saying and they've been referring to each other by their real names. So of course Undertaker Mark Calloway and AJ Styles Alan Jones. It's weird, it is very weird, this blend of real life and wrestling. Obviously wrestling is fake, guys. And even in that promo, Undertaker said that Michelle McCool did the Styles Clash version, the Faith Breaker, was a better version of that move than what AJ Styles does. So a little bit of burning there. Ooh, ooh. And yeah, so this has been a very weird feud, very weird build. Don't know exactly what this Boneyard match will entail, but I think I'm going to go for The Undertaker on this match, just because, well, it's The Undertaker really. I mean, I know the streak is no longer a thing at WrestleMania, of course that was broken by Brock Lesnar 6 years ago. Bloody hell, that was 6 years ago. Where's the time gone? But yeah, no, I'm going to go for The Undertaker on this match, you know. I think AJ Styles is a pretty decent wrestler, but I don't think he'll win this match. I don't know, we'll wait and see. Next up is another very weirdly named match type. It is a Firefly Funhouse match between John Cena and The Fiend, Bray Wyatt. Now, I don't know what's going on here, because I feel really sorry for The Fiend, you know, Bray Wyatt. You know, there was this whole build to him suddenly just becoming Universal Champion. And then of course there was that infamous Hell in a Cell match that got voted the worst match of 2019. And then of course it's Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia, he won the title, and then all of a sudden in 3 minutes, in no less than 3 minutes, back at Super Showdown, he loses to Goldberg, and it's just like, how does that happen? Like 4 spears and a botched was it 4 spears? Yeah, it was 4 spears and a botched jackhammer, and he loses. It's just weird. But anyway, it's nice to see John Cena, you know, back at WrestleMania, and I don't know, and I just enjoyed seeing him last year as well. Anyway, for this match, I'm gonna go for The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, because of course this is his stipulation. I don't know what a Firefly Funhouse match is. I hope it's not like that House of Horrors match we saw a few years ago, which was very peculiar. I didn't really get it. But anyway, I do have The Fiend to win it, and come to think of it, the Bray Wyatt as a whole is 0-3 at WrestleMania. So of course, WrestleMania 30 coincidentally lost to John Cena. WrestleMania 31 he lost to The Undertaker. WrestleMania 32 he wasn't on the card. WrestleMania 33 he lost the WWE Championship to Randy Orton in that weird match that featured all sorts of like images printed on the ring canvas, and you know, of bugs and sort, and then of course that wasn't enough to beat Randy Orton. And then WrestleMania 34 and 35 he wasn't on the card at all, so it's nice to see Bray Wyatt back in a WrestleMania match, but I do hope he wins, because he needs it, especially after what happened at the Super Showdown. I'm not over it. Next up we have Bayley versus Lacey Evans versus Naomi versus Sasha Banks versus Tamina in a Fatal 5-Way elimination match for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Now, this is going to sound controversial, but out of all the Women's Championships matches taking place at WrestleMania, this one I think has just had the least build to it. It feels a lot like an afterthought, considering the amount of build that's gone into the NXT Women's Championship match and the Raw Women's Championship match. More on those later. But I mean, cast your mind back. Last year, this was the center of this championship was the center of attention in the main event, along with the Raw Women's Championship, and of course Becky Lynch won it, and then of course a month later he loses it to Charlotte, then loses it to Bayley, and then a little down the line Charlotte wins it back with a 10th title reign, although weirdly on commentary they've just not acknowledged it, that, you know, that it's just been this continuous reign from Bayley, and even though she won the title twice, I don't know, why do they do this? Why do they like to say this version of history didn't happen? I don't know. But yeah, so Bayley is the SmackDown Women's Champion going into WrestleMania, but I have this weird feeling that she's going to lose. And I think Sasha will have something to do with that, because it was back a few years ago when they were teasing this whole kind of tension between Sasha Banks and Bayley. Then they eventually were like, oh yeah, we're going to pull the trigger on this, but then we're like, no, we're not. We're going to be like, oh yeah, you two have got to go see counselling. That was a very weird time. But anyway, I think they're going to pull the trigger on this. They're going to have Sasha Banks win this, and now that I think about it as well, Sasha Banks has never won at WrestleMania. Every year that I've predicted her in a Women's Championship match, she's never won. So this is an injustice on Sasha Banks if she doesn't win. So, and also she's just come back as well. So Sasha Banks, there you go. Next up we have a match that I'm actually quite excited about. It is Edge versus Randy Orton in a last man standing match, and my god, I've enjoyed this build, and obviously given what they've had to do behind closed doors recently, I've also enjoyed some of that as well. I cried when Edge returned to the Royal Rumble because nobody was expecting it. It had been nearly 9 years at this point since Edge had last wrestled, and just the fact that he had returned, and you know, he was looking buff, and his lyrics to the lyrics to Metalingus by Alter Bridge, they made sense. On this day, I see clearly, everything has come to life, and it just made sense, and that's how I cried. It was so great seeing that moment, and then he made it to the final three, and then of course the following night that led to the kind of supposed reunion of Rated RKO, and then of course Randy Orton delivering that famous move, or infamous move, however you want to tout it. And then a little down the line, obviously Beth Phoenix came in, who of course is Edge's wife. She got an RKO, and that was brilliant. And then just the promos between Edge and Randy Orton have been amazing, especially this past week on Raw. You know, probably one of the best promos I've seen in some time. And of course this is going to be a last man standing match, so I think because it is in an empty arena essentially, I think they might use that to their advantage. So maybe a spear off the stage or something, or so, I don't know, they'll do something amazing. So I think for this, considering this is his first one-on-one match back, I'm gonna go for Edge on this, because I just love Edge. Hands down, Edge is my favourite career heel. I know he's going into this match as a face, but as a heel he is brilliant, and it's just great to see him back, so I'm gonna go for Edge on this. And then next up we come to the tale of the Raw Women's Championship match between Becky Lynch and Shayna Baszler. Now, cast your minds back to last year. Becky Lynch won the Royal Rumble, she challenged Ronda Rousey, then she found out she was injured, and obviously there was this whole back and forth. It was a weird build up to last year, but of course we're not talking about last year, even though of course she eventually found her way back into the match, and then she won the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championship. She did lose the SmackDown Women's Championship down the line, but she has remained Raw Women's Champion ever since, and I feel like I feel like this is going to be where this championship reign ends, because I feel like Baszler is going to be positioned as, you know, champion going forward. You know, she won the Elimination Chamber. I don't know what's going to happen. Well, I do know what's going to happen. Well, this is my prediction. I don't know what's going to happen, even though it has happened, which is a very weird thing to say. But for this match, I'm going to go for Shayna Baszler, because Shayna Baszler is boo. She's a beast. She's the Queen of Spades. She's a cage fighter. Remember that. And I don't know what's going to happen to Becky Lynch down the line. I don't know. She might even challenge for the championship a little down the line again. But yeah, for this match, I'm going to go for Shayna Baszler. Then next up, we go to the NXT Women's Championship match. And it's amazing that this championship, for the first time ever, is being defended at WrestleMania. And that is, of course, Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair. And I'm bloody love Rhea Ripley. She's the same age as me, which I find a bit mad. And like, she's really come to her own. She was the first ever NXT UK Women's Champion, and then of course beat Shayna Baszler after a long 400. How many days was Shayna Baszler's reign as NXT? Her second reign, I mean, as NXT Women's Champion, because that went on for some time. And then of course Rhea Ripley was the one to win. Good on her, and then she's been champion ever since. And then of course Charlotte was given the choice of who she would challenge for the who she would challenge after winning the Royal Rumble. I almost forgot she won the Royal Rumble. That's a bit crazy, even though it was like nearly 3 months ago now. So of course Charlotte Flair had the choice of who to challenge, and she went for Rhea Ripley. And I think this could be a really good match. You know, I feel like given they did have that little triple threat match that took place on SmackDown in the lead up to Survivor Series, and of course all I can remember, I always remember when Charlotte had Sasha Banks in the figure 8, then Rhea Ripley just, you know, gets her shoulders down to the mat and like creatively pins her like that. And then of course Rhea Ripley was part of the Survivor Series match, and of course she was on the winning side for NXT. So I really like the build here. I really like Rhea Ripley, and I feel like she could, you know what, she might be a future Raw SmackDown Women's Champion. I'm gonna just throw it out there. I think she's bloody brilliant, so I'm gonna go for Rhea Ripley to retain, because I have this weird feeling that Charlotte doesn't need the NXT Women's Champion, if that makes sense. I know she's been champion in the past, but I just don't think she needs it, if that makes any sense. So I think Rhea Ripley's gonna retain. Now I should quickly address the elephant in the room, and that is Goldberg versus Roman Reigns. Now, of course, this was the match that was originally meant to happen for the Universal Championship, but I'm sure you've seen the news that Roman Reigns has stepped aside from this match because of his immunocompromised state, because of his leukemia battle a little while ago. And of course, given the current circumstances, he didn't want to put himself in this position out of his health, because at the end of the day, in this scenario, health is the main priority. So it frees up someone to face Goldberg. Now I don't know who it's gonna be. I just don't know. I have this weird, this is gonna sound mad, but I have this weird feeling that they'll go with the Fiend. They'll go with the Fiend. So of course, if my prediction is correct that the Fiend beats John Cena, I have this weird feeling it will take place on night 1 and then this on night 2. So the Fiend will win, and then the Fiend will, like, Goldberg will come out and say, I was meant to face Roman Reigns, but who's next? And then out comes the Fiend. Now I should quickly mention that of course SmackDown hasn't aired this week, and they're still advertising Roman Reigns versus Goldberg at this point. Now, it could be someone completely different. I've heard rumours of it being Braun Strowman, but I'm just going to leave it as the Fiend right now. So that's my little plan, and then the Fiend comes back and wins it. So, you never know, something might happen between then and now, but you never know. And then the final match that we come to is Brock Lesnar versus Drew McIntyre. Roll the R's there, for the WWE Championship, and my goodness, I am gonna scream if Drew McIntyre wins this, because Drew McIntyre, he is the dog's bollocks. He is. Like, I've seen him on a few indie shows over here, I've met him as well. He's such a nice bloke, and he won the Royal Rumble match this year, the Men's Rumble, making him the first ever British wrestler to win that match. And yes, Scotland is part of Great Britain. I know what people are going to say, but he's Scottish, but he's also British. And yeah, I really hope he wins. Like, if anything, this will be justice for Kofi Kingston losing the WWE Championship in 10 seconds to Brock Lesnar back on the debut episode of SmackDown on Fox. I still haven't gotten over that. I find it mad that happened, like, in no less than 10 seconds. Madness. But yeah, I have Drew McIntyre for this, because I feel like he's ready for it. You know what? He's really built himself up. He's this mad Scottish dude. He's a Scottish psychopath. I think they're still calling that. And also there was this lovely little promo package of him in the Scottish Highlands training for this match. And if he does win, he'll become the first ever British man, yes, Great Britain is Scotland is part of Great Britain, to win the WWE Championship. And like, considering back in his first run, back in 2009, when he made his debut on the main roster, Vince McMahon said he is going to be a future world champion. And if this comes true, then it's like long-term storytelling. That's what I love in wrestling. So if that rolls over to now, then that'll be amazing. So Drew McIntyre, I think what's going to happen is I have this weird feeling that it's going to be kind of the little same bits that you see in most Brock Lesnar matches these days, a few German suplexes, and then out of nowhere Drew McIntyre kips up, hits a Claymore, 1, 2, 3, he's champion. I think that might just happen. It might just happen. So of course, yeah, those are my predictions for this year's WrestleMania. It does feel a bit weird how it's all going down. I mean, obviously I can't go out to watch it like I usually would do when I'm, you know, in the country watching WrestleMania. And again, I do feel sorry for everyone who was going to WrestleMania this year. It was going to be amazing live, I reckon, but it's just the fact that it just wasn't meant to be, considering what's happening right now. So I hope in that case WrestleMania next year, which is happening in Los Angeles, is also going to be amazing. I mean, I'm going to throw this out here right now. I might want to go and attend that next year because that might sound cool. So you never know, this time next year I'll be in LA. Well, actually, no, I think about it, not this time next year, because it's actually happening on the 28th of March next year. So yeah. So at this point, when I say this time next year, I will have experienced, or hopefully have experienced WrestleMania 37. But yeah, as I say, yeah, WrestleMania 36 for what we're getting should be fun, and I look forward to it. I mean, I should quickly mention, I don't know what's going to happen with reactions this year, because I mean, I will watch it live, but I will be watching it live, but I just, because I live at home with my family, I don't want to, you know, do my reactions and wake everyone up and be like, Ollie, why are you waking everyone up? So I'm going to try and find some way to compromise around this. So yeah, hope to get a WrestleMania 36 reactions video out, because that'll be very cool and I like those reactions. Anyway, hope you guys enjoy WrestleMania 36 for what it is. And then while I'm at it, I'll leave you with some advice, and that is to enjoy yourself, stay safe, and make the most of every opportunity that comes your way. Thank you for watching, and peace.